Okay, next thing I want to talk about, it's going to be the steering. When this tractor comes from the factory, the steering stops are set up. This thing won't turn around in a 40-acre field. Now, if you have a good dealer like I do, they'll adjust it for you before you ever get it, and you won't never know that. But if you got the tractor and the dealer did not change your steering stops, you're probably thinking, why will this tractor not steer worth a dang? I mean, there's big tractors that'll steer sharper than this tractor will the way it's set up from the factory. Fortunately, there's a way to change that. If you go back in here, and I'm trying to get to it, I got fenders on I got these fenders, optional fenders, and they are spring loaded, so when you steer, they don't hit. There's a stop that keeps them from turning and hitting the hood. But there is a steering stop down here that you need to turn your attention to. And you can see it right there. You can see where mine's adjusted to. And depending on the size of your tires on how far you can turn this stop in. But there's one on each side, and you need to adjust them equally. If you adjust one, adjust the other one exactly the same, and you do that by measuring how much the head of the bolt's sticking out. But what you do is start adjusting them in about a half an inch or something from what it is. Turn the wheels all the way and hold them there. Get somebody to look and make sure the tire is not contacting the frame or the hood or anything like that. Check both sides with the wheels turned both ways. Make sure they're not contacting. Now, the other thing you probably need to do is take the loader, raise the front end off the ground, and articulate the axle. What I mean is this axle can do this up and down. This tire can move up and down as you go over uneven ground. If you have the loader on, you can raise the front end of the tractor up some and articulate, and then turn the wheels. Make sure it's still not contacting any frame parts. And if it's not, you can turn it some more. You can turn that stop in some more until you get it. You can get it to where the tire clears the frame by a half inch to an inch with the axle articulated all the way and the tires turned all the way. And you want to check the front and the back of the tires, make sure it's not hitting up here in the front or in the back. Turn the wheels both ways, check both sides, and you can get a lot more steering angle out of the tractor by doing that. So yeah, that trick works on Massey Ferguson tractors and New Holland tractors, and it may work on John Deere tractors. I don't know. I don't have a bigger John Deere tractor to check out that on, but most of your tractors like this that have this type of axle have the steering stop. I know. Next thing on this particular tractor, this one had a notchy steering feel when I got it. It had when I would turn it would go notch, 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 notch. And I talked to the dealer. I noticed that the day I test drove it. And I talked to the dealer about it, and he said he would take care of it. About a month after I bought it, he did take care of it. They had an updated steering unit. He brought it up here to my place. He put it on in about an hour and a half. Took care of the problem. Hadn't had any more issues with it. So if you got a notchy steering feeling in your 4700 tractor, there may be an updated steering unit you can have put in it to solve that. Now, there is a noise. It's kind of a growling noise, and sometimes you may hear it. Most of the time you'll hear it once the hydraulic oil is hot, and you're steering pretty fast, and you have a load on the front maybe on the loader or something. Sometimes not. This tractor doesn't do it very often, but you may hear a growling noise. That growling noise is normal. I wouldn't get concerned about the growling noise. And the reason I say it's normal is because I've had 3 brand new tractors, a T4, a T5. Those are New Holland tractors, and then this 4700 Massey Ferguson. All three of those tractors make that noise. It doesn't affect the performance of the steering, um, but it is a noise, and you might think there's something wrong, and it can be annoying at times. It was much more annoying on my T4 than it is on this tractor. This tractor hardly ever does it, but occasionally it does do it, and I'm like, it's just a normal thing that these newer tractors are doing, and I think I'm going to say this because of the design of the steering motors now. I don't know that they make steering hydrostatic units as well or as tight as they used to make them years ago, and I think maybe they have a little bit of leak by in them when they get up to the top of their pressure range that they use to turn the wheels. When they start pushing 3,000 psi, when you have a load or something on there, that they have like a little bit of leak by, and it makes a noise, and you can feel it a little bit in the steering. That, to me, now is just a normal thing of a new tractor, because every new tractor I've had does it. We do have a couple of backhoes that are older that do it, that have always done it, and they've never had any issues as far as something wrong with the steering, but they have always made that noise. But these last three tractors that I've got that are new are the first tractors I've run into that done it. But I believe it's something normal for these newer tractors, and I blame the steering hydrostatic unit companies that build these steering hydrostatic units. I say that maybe their tolerances aren't as high as they used to be, but it doesn't mean that they don't work fine, and you know how it is. So now that's all I want to talk about on the steering. There is a lot of people are fussing about the cup holders on these tractors. They do come with pretty sorry cup holders. They don't hold a drink well. The new 4700s are starting to come with these, and you can get them mine didn't come with this, but you can get it for it and install it. See this cup holder here? It's much bigger, deeper, and nicer cup holder. It just bolts into the original cup holder spot, and it'll hold your drink, water bottle. It won't hold a huge coffee thermos unless it's neck down at the bottom, but at least it does it. The cup holders that come in it are just like this, and you'd set something in it and hit a bump and it'd just fly out of it. I don't know how many times I had my coffee sitting over here and hit a bump and it just poured it out back here behind the seat, and I had to clean all that mess up. So if you got a problem with cup holders, you can get a cup holder for it for, I can't remember how much, $35 or something to get the better cup holder. I don't know if you can put one on both sides or not, but I know you can put one on the left side, and I know the newer tractors are now coming with them. All right, so that's the cup holder. That's the deal with the cup holders and the steering. On to the next thing. Let me look at my list again. Okay, next thing is the lift arms. I had some people curious about these lift arms and the adjustment of them, because when you get them from the factory, they come up extremely high. They come up like this high. I mean, they're way up here. And when you let them down, they don't go down far enough to hook up most implements. Like this box blade right here, it wouldn't even go down low enough to hook to this box blade, much less use it. And this is something I took for granted that I already knew about, but some people, maybe this is their first tractor, or maybe this is the first tractor they've had that's this size, because this tractor is in a price point that allows smaller operations to be able to afford. This tractor, as it sits right here, with all the options I got on this tractor, it was $59,800, I believe. This tractor, you can get it and this one's the 100 horsepower version. If you get like a 4707, it's just like this tractor, set up just like it, with just a lot less horsepower, a lot less cost. I bet you'd be low 40s on that tractor, maybe low to mid 40s on a 4707. I'm just guessing. I don't know that for sure. I just know what I paid for this one. This one was about 52 before all the options I added on it, 52 or 53. And that is extremely good for a 100 horsepower tractor, in my opinion, as good as this one is. I mean, this tractor really doesn't have any major flaws that I've come across yet. I mean, I like getting in it and going out to the field with the hay rake or the tedder or even the mower. It'll even pull the mower, a 10-foot 4-inch disc bind. It'll run it. Runs it really good on flat ground, and it runs it okay on steep ground. But you just can't beat it for what it costs, in my opinion. But anyway, I take for granted, some people may not know that you can adjust these arms down lower so you can use a box blade or something like this. So this arm, this one over here, you know, it's a given. It's got this adjustment on it where you can raise it up and down one side. But you may not know that this side over here, it doesn't adjust up here, but it does adjust here. You pull this pin out right here, and you can screw this turnbuckle down so you can make this arm down a whole lot lower so you can hook your box blade or York rake or whatever you need that the pins are really close to the ground. And then obviously once you have this one set where you want it, you can adjust this one to where you want it. And then you can also use this arm to adjust like a box blade if you want to lower one side down or raise one side up so you can crown your road or something like that. You know, there's a handle on this side that will allow you to easily adjust that. There's not on this side, so it makes you feel like when you get this tractor, these threads aren't exposed. They have it screwed all the way in. So it makes you feel like this side is not adjustable, but it is adjustable. So that's something that you might want to know. Also, it has these buttons on the fenders, so you can raise the lift arms up and down while you're hooking stuff up. Makes it a whole lot easier. But there is a sequence you have to go through before they will actually work. Okay, so the correct way to activate the linkage back here is to push the down button and then push the up button and then choose the direction you want to go. So you push down, then up, and then you push up or down. So if you want to raise it up, you push down, up, up. Once you activate it for the first time, you don't have to push down then up every time. Once you get it activated by pushing down then up, then you can just push up or down, and you can go to the other side and you can just push up or down, whichever way you want the linkage to go. But for me, it's hard to remember how to activate it every time. I don't know why I struggle with remembering to push down and then up, and that activates it. I always end up pushing up, then down, or up, down, up, and then I can't ever get it to work sometimes, and I get frustrated. But I wish it was just more like the New Holland tractors. You can just walk up to it and push up or down, and it works. Whereas this one, you have to push the code. You have to do a code on it before it works. It reminds me of a video game. You got to go, you know, it's like down, down, up, up, A, B, down, down, up to get the cheat code to work. But anyway, I got a short memory anyway, and remembering down then up instead of up then down or whatever, I get confused easily. So those are the things you might want to know about the lift arms and the lift buttons. All right, while I'm back here, and I made a video on these, the dust covers. You've probably already seen these if you watch me pretty regularly. You can get this kit from the dealer. Puts the covers on these outlets instead of having those little rubber plugs that get all nasty, and then you shove it back in there with all the dirt on it and get dirt inside your couplings. You can order these dust caps, and they actually have places that you hook hoses to on the back side, and then the hoses run around and they come down here. And if you really want it, this is the hose coming from them. There is a catch bottle, and you can see mine has been catching oil. It's got some oil in it, but it catches all the waste oil that leaks out of the hoses after you unplug them and plug them up. Because whenever you plug and unplug these hoses, there's a little bit of oil that spills out every time, and if you don't have these caps and the catch bottle, it'll just spill down the back of the tractor and make a big mess. And you can see how much cleaner this tractor is with those caps on than it was in that video that when I first showed you the mess that was all over the back of this tractor before I put those caps on. It was ridiculous. Now I don't really have that mess anymore, and I like that much better. You don't really have to have the bottle. If you don't want the bottle, you can just let the oil drip on the ground. I'm not the EPA, so I'm not going to say anything about it, but I did get the bottle. It wasn't cheap with the bottle. I think everything was $175. I bet if you drop the bottle off, you could probably get it down to maybe 120. You drop the bottle off, you don't have to have the bracket. All you have to have the caps and the hoses in. It depends on how many remotes you got. I got all 3 remotes. Alright, let me look at my list here. Done the cup holder. Loader options. I have the 936X. You can get, this one is a mechanical self-leveling. It has this right here to it, and it keeps the bucket level as you raise it. I have mixed feelings about mechanical self-leveling loader. When I'm doing square hay, I love it because I can just pull the lever straight back. It goes up in the air, it keeps the hay level. I can pull over it, let it go, raise it up, back up, let it down. I hardly ever have to adjust the bucket tilt. Doing round bales, I don't like it as good. I mean, it's fine, you get used to it. But doing round bales, after I spear a round bale, I prefer for the spear to stay in the same arc as I raise it up. That way the bale stays on better. But what happens is you'll spear it and you'll raise it up. Then you have to tilt it back so the bale stays on there good. Then when you get to the trailer, you have to tilt it back over, which is not a big deal, but I like to be able to spear it, raise it up, then you don't have to tilt it again until you get to the trailer, and then when you raise it up, you tilt it once to set it on the trailer and back out. With this, you can leave it level, raise the bale up level, but if you start going down a hill, the bale may shoot off the bale spear if you don't tilt it back. And it's what you get used to. I'm not really used to mechanical self-leveling loader on a tractor, and if I was going to buy a new tractor today, I probably wouldn't get the mechanical self-leveling because I'm used to not having it, and I wouldn't spend the extra money on it. But if you're doing a lot of pallet work, if you handle a lot of pallets, or if you're just doing square bales with an accumulator doing a lot of that, mechanical self-leveling is really nice for doing especially pallet work, so you don't have to try it like a pallet of grass seed or something. You're not always trying to keep it level so you don't dump them off, or fertilizer pallets and stuff like that. Definitely would want mechanical self-leveling for that type of work. I got the this is an accumulator system right here, and this is for the soft ride feature on this loader. I would not buy another tractor without this. I love having soft ride on my loaders tractors. What that does is, going down the road, you hit a bump, and you know how your loader, if you don't have soft ride or ride control, your loader will bounce and it'll go wham, wham, and it just sends a jar through the whole tractor, or even out through the field. If you hit a groundhog hole and that loader if the weight comes off the loader and comes back down, bam, bam, it just sends a jar through you and the tractor, and it's not good for the tractor or the loader. With that thing, the loader just kind of floats out there like it's on a cloud. You hit a bump and the loader just goes, ugh, and just kind of goes on, happy as can be. I highly recommend soft ride on any loader. I have it on the T5. I got it on this one. This one is mechanical. That's what you can turn it off. And some situations you may need to turn it off. But I hadn't run into that situation yet on this tractor. I hadn't ever turned it off. I keep it on all the time. My T5, I've turned it on and off because it's electronic. I can turn it on and off in the cab. I've turned it on and off just to see what the difference is. It stays on about all the time. There is an option that I don't have. Of course, I did get the third function on this tractor, so I could run my grapple and my brush grapple and my hay grapple. But there is an option that I didn't get. You can get a hydraulic coupler, a hydraulic bucket coupler that operates these levers from the third function. You can get that as an option from Massey Ferguson on this tractor. So, and what that allows you to do is to change from your bucket to your forks or to whatever you're doing without getting out of the tractor. So, and it wasn't but like a $600 option. And I don't know why I didn't get it, but I didn't. That's pretty neat. You can think about it. You can stay in the tractor and take the bucket off and put the forks on. We have that on our skid steer, but I've never had it on a tractor. You can get a bigger loader on this tractor. You can get a 931 that's not an X. Bagwell Farms has got one of those on his 4700, and he really seems to like that loader. It's a heavier built loader. It's the same loader I have on my New Holland tractor. These loaders are built by ALO, just like the ones on my New Holland tractors. So yeah, you can get, I don't know if you can order that loader from the factory, but it will fit on this tractor. And I don't know how he ended up with the loader he's got on there. It's a 931 that's not an X, and it's a heavier loader. It has a better parking system on it, and it has a better pin on system. See, this one's actually got pins you pull out to take the loader off. His has got the system like my T5. It's got you just pull it out and twist it. Then when you put the loader back on, it'll automatically twist, and the pins automatically go in on their own. You don't have to put them back in manually. And that's a pretty neat setup. It's the way my T5 is, but this tractor doesn't have it. I've never took the loader off of this tractor yet. Haven't seen the need to. Being a utility tractor, and I use it for mostly utility type work with the loader. I also don't have any extra weight on the front other than the loader. I don't have fluid in the tires. I don't have weights. The loader just don't come off this tractor very often. So that's the things I want to talk about on the loader. DEF usage. Let's talk about DEF for just a second. I know I've got videos on this already. It holds 2.5 gallons of DEF, but you need to put DEF in this tractor. Every time you put fuel in it, put DEF in it. That's just all there is to it. If you don't, you're going to run out of DEF on the second tank of fuel. When the gauge is showing empty, you have about 1 gallon of DEF left. So it'll start flashing at you and beeping at you. You actually still have about 1 gallon left. But it won't make it through a second tank of fuel because it takes about 1.5 gallons to get through one tank of fuel. So just keep that in mind. Let me look at my list to see if I went over everything. One more thing I want to talk about is I've heard some rumors that people are saying that there is a hydraulic shuttle filter that's got to be changed at 50 hours. According to my owner's manual and my dealer, that's not true. I'll let you look at this right here. Right here is a 60 micron power shuttle filter element. All right, if you look at the chart, there's 50 hours, 250 hours, and 500 hours, 1,000 hours, and 1,500 hours, and 2,000 hours. All right, so if you look here, there's no dots beside that and 50 hours. There's not any in 250. There's not any in 500. There's not any in 1,000. When you get to 1,500 hours, there's a dot. So that filter only has to be changed every 1,500 hours. As a matter of fact, there's nothing you have to do to the hydraulic system or the transmission in the first 50 hours. This little dot right here says check that the clutch pedal is operating correctly and check that the gearbox ratio engagement. That's the only thing that says at 50 hours. So there's no fluid to change until 1,500 hours is when you change the fluid the first time. The only thing that you got to change at 500 hours, it says change the transmission high pressure filter. 500 hours. Well, I only have 195 hours on this tractor, so I'm still a good ways from 500 before I have to change that. So I hope that answers the question on the hydraulic filter change. I've heard that filter, that power shuttle filter, is very difficult to get to by my dealer. He said that you have to pull the right rear wheel off to get to that filter, but you only have to change it every 1,500 hours, so it's not a big deal. I mean, it is a big deal, but it's not a big deal. Every 1,500 hours to me is probably like 5-6 years. Is all be that long before I get 1,500 hours on this tractor. There is no, as far as the engine oil goes, they don't even recommend changing the engine oil for the first time until 500 hours. But I did change mine at 150. But it's not recommended until 500. So the service intervals are good on this tractor. You don't have to change the hydraulic oil until every 1,500 hours. So that's good. The fuel filters, I want to see what's the fuel filters. Let's see here. We'll check fuel filters. Air conditioning. Fuel filter, pre-filter. Every 500 hours. Change the fuel filter. The fuel filter every 500 hours. So the fuel filter and the pre-filter is every 500 hours before you have to worry about the fuel filters. And that's very good in my opinion. So I don't know what else I could talk about on this thing. This isn't a review, but if I did do a review on this tractor, and I may very well soon, before too much longer, I would give it a very good review. Very pleased with this tractor so far. Probably one of my favorite tractors we've got out here, which is surprising for what it costs. You would think a more expensive tractor would be my choice, but I believe this one's right up there with the expensive tractors in my opinion. Alright, that's going to be it for this one. I know it's kind of long-winded. I don't know if I want to break it up into 2 parts or not. I may have to. But Thanks for sticking in here with me, and we'll see you in the next video.